Are emotions important? We talk a lot about logic and reason, and that being the most important faculty of mind. But if that's the case, does it mean that we become unfeeling robots? Does it mean that we don't feel our emotions anymore? And that's a big misconception that we run into a lot. Being able to control your emotions doesn't mean not feeling your emotions. So it's very important to be able to take control of your emotions and organize them so that you can live the best life possible. If you let your emotions run your life and control you, then you're no better than an instinctual animal. And an instinctual animal doesn't have this faculty of reason that's able to control, guide, and master your emotions. So it's very important to, first of all, understand that controlling your emotions doesn't mean not feeling anything. It doesn't mean turning off your emotions. It doesn't mean becoming an unfeeling robot or anything like that. What it means is that you're able to understand them, and then once you're able to understand them, you're able to delegate them and use them appropriately. Because as we're going to see, emotions are very important. That's another thing that is a common misconception, is that, oh, emotions are just things that get in the way and should be eliminated. No, emotions are incredibly important. Imagine if you didn't have any emotion whatsoever. You'd have no desire. Imagine what would happen if you had no desire. You would never get out of bed in the morning. If you were just laying in bed in the morning and you had, zero emotions, zero desire, what would you do? You would do nothing. There would be nothing to propel you, no gas in the engine, so to speak, to get you to do things. So let's take a look at a very important point. We're going to look at 4 faculties of the mind, all right? We have the senses, we have the emotions, we have intuition, and we have reason. And we talked about this in love as well. You're going to see these 4 categories come up a lot: senses, emotion, intuition, and reason. And this is largely based on some of Carl Jung's ideas about Jungian functions. But these categories are very important. Carl Jung was a very intelligent individual. And when we talked about love, we talked about the 4 attraction levels being about, physical, emotional, intuitive, or rational. So now we're just going to take a deeper look at this, because this is really important when it comes to understanding your emotions, because you have to understand what are the function of emotions. Before you can begin to master them or control them, you have to be able to understand what their function is, right? Understanding is so important. Almost always, it's ignorance that trips us up. It's ignorance that leads to all the problems that we have in the world. Once we understand something, once we know how something works, we can properly place it, properly organize it, know how to handle it. So we have these 4 primary faculties of senses, emotions, intuition, and reason. And each one of them has a function and a place. For example, the senses help us navigate the holos. The senses help us navigate the physical world. We see things, we touch things. It is how we navigate the physical plane. Emotions give us drive and desire. They propel us forward. They're the gas in the car. Now, intuitions can give us access to intuitive experience of the mental domain, brilliant breakthroughs, and being connected to the unconscious. And then reason is the highest faculty of mind. It's the pinnacle. It's the guiding function. It filters, organizes, controls all the other lower functions, right? It is the controller, the organizer. And what's important to realize is that once you understand this, you can begin to organize your life much, much better. So, for example, if a lot of people get confused and they put a different function as the guiding function, right? As Hyperions, as rationalists, we put reason as the guiding function because that's what it is, that's what it's supposed to do. But imagine if you put emotions as the guiding function. Well, if you put emotions as the guiding function, this is very common for those who subscribe to a literalist, fundamentalist religion, right? They are mostly guided by their emotions. They feel Jesus in their heart. They're guided by emotional stories, the love of Jesus, things like this, all very emotion-based. If you put the physical senses at the apex of mind, then you are guided by what you can see, touch, taste, and feel. You become an empiricist, someone who gains knowledge based on the senses. And this is when you become an atheistic materialist, someone who only believes that the world is matter and physical, and that's it, because you have placed the senses at the apex of mind. So you only believe in what you can see, touch, hear, taste, and smell, that sort of thing. If you put your intuitions at the apex of mind, people often subscribe to things like Eastern religions and New Ageism and mysticism. And you may have very incredible intuitive connections, but it's very unfiltered. And like a chaotic ocean, you can start to believe in some pretty crazy ideas that have no foundation in actuality, in actual reality. Now, as Hyperions, we place reason at the apex of mind. Reason, logic, reason is what is able to place all these other functions in their proper place. We know senses are for navigating the physical world. We know that emotions give us drive and desire and experience of certain aspects. We know that intuitions can keep us in touch with the mental domain of mind. But we can use reason to order all this and filter out anything that might be contrary to reason. So what this has to do with everything is that it's really important to remember that everything has a proper place and a proper function. And if certain things get out of order and used in the wrong way, things get really out of hand. It's like it's like if you have a knife and a spoon. Both of them are important, right? But you use a spoon to eat cereal and you use a knife to cut vegetables. This is why it's same with the faculty of mind. Everything has a proper place and a proper function. But if you get them out of order, if you try and use the knife to eat your cereal and you try to use the spoon to cut your vegetables, you're not going to have a very pleasant dining experience. Likewise, if you use your emotions to guide your life rather than reason, this is like trying to use a knife to eat your cereal. They're both important, but one has a certain function over the other. They each have a proper place. So what's very important to understand is that emotions are powerful things. They, as we said before, they give us desire. They are what get us out of bed in the morning. They move us towards things. So if we imagine a car, emotions are like gas, right? You put gas in the car and it will get you where you want to go. Reason is like the person, steering the car. So emotions are important. They're the gas in the car. It gets you to where you want to go. But guess what? Gas is also extremely volatile, right? If you don't use gas in the right way, it can blow up in your face. It can cause destruction. So you need to be able to guide and channel the gas, guide and channel your emotions in the proper way so that they move you towards your goals, so that they move you towards your destinations, so that it gives you a more fulfilled, a more optimized, a more actualized life, instead of it turning into a wildfire that burns everything down. Because emotions are powerful and dangerous, but if used in the proper way, they can be powerful tools to drive your own life and the optimization of the collective, and so many faculties that will lead to a better life for you and a better world for all of us. So I have a lot more that I want to say about this, because we are going to be not only discussing, I've just basically told you what emotions are and they need to be guided, but we're going to look more about how to guide them, how to control them. so that they don't overrun your life and things like this. More practical uses for how to actually control and master your emotions. But I want to take a look at the comments here for a second. Thomas says, hey Morgue, don't you think your aesthetic may limit your mainstream reach? I don't really care. I'm not knocking your question or something, but here's the thing: we're all about being real and being authentic and building a world based on authenticity, right? So this is me. This is who I am. This is how I express myself. How I express myself down the road might change, but I will always be true and authentic to myself. And I'm not here to please anyone. I'm not here to look a certain way or dress a certain way to please anybody. I am here to be authentically me and talk about what I think needs to be said and expressed in the way that it needs to be done. So I don't really care if the way that I look turns people off. In fact, that shows a limitation of mind, a limitation of consciousness. If someone doesn't listen to the message because they're too distracted by the package, let that be the first test. If you can look past an image to the message, you are well on your way to being an open-minded individual. If not, if you're not open-minded enough, odds are you're probably not going to like what we have to say. If you're not open-minded enough to get past an image and an aesthetic, you're not going to be open-minded enough to connect with everything else that we have to say, because what we have to say is very different, and you must have an open mind to be able to understand it. Thank you for the donation, Chanel. You're awesome. I appreciate that. All you guys who donate, you're awesome. This is how we're able to keep things going. Thank you very much. Dylan says, this is probably a stupid question, but can Hyperions have dreadlocks? Hey, my friend, you can do whatever you want with your hair. You can shave it all off. You can have dreadlocks. You can spike it. You can look. See, here's the thing. You can look however you want as a Hyperion. We don't put any kind. We're all about logic and reason. And where is the logic and reason in limiting an individual's expression? So yeah, of course you can have dreadlocks, my friend. Go wild, go crazy, do whatever you would like. Watchek says, exactly, that's why we like you, because you're one of the most authentic individuals in the universe. That means a lot. Thanks, my friend. You know, I've had a very interesting background. I've been a street performer. I have hosted a freak show for many years. I have been in, and at all times, my life has always been about being authentic. All right, because everyone creates these fake personas that they project and things like that. But it's very important to be the true you, the real you, the authentic you. And not only to be the true you, the real you, and the authentic you, but to continually try to improve yourself to become more expressed, right? So you just don't want to sit there either. You want to continually work on yourself, grow and evolve, and become the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. Also, guys, remember that we're going to have a supporters-only secret live stream after this. And if you want to be a part of that, you absolutely can by becoming a supporter on Patreon. The link is in the description if you want to be a part of that. But that's not for, we're going to be live here for quite some time still. But remember, guys, if you want to support my work, best way to do it is become a supporter on Patreon or use the donate button in here, which helps so much. And I'll also answer your question with anything that goes along with that. But so Thomas asks, I'm gonna get onto the topic of emotions in a moment. Oh, thank you, Spliz. Spliz made a donation. Thank you so much. You're awesome, my friend. And said, anyone who can't see the beauty in you has no logic and reason. That means a lot, my friend. See, here's the thing. I love people who are truly authentically themselves and express themselves. There are some artists who, just for music as an example, like Diamanda Galas is a musician that I really like, but her music is very difficult to listen to. They are screeches. But it is her. It's authentically her. And that's why I love it, because you can really get a feel for who that person is. So I don't care, if you wear black, if you wear pink, if you're, have multicolored hair, a mohawk, if you're blonde, I don't care. I don't care. As long as you're being you, as long as you're expressing your internal self and bringing it to the outside, that is what true beauty is. That's what beauty is, you guys. Beauty is bringing your inner self to the outer self as you create and grow. Thank you so much for the donation, Xander. You are awesome. So Thomas asked, do you think rejecting the intolerant is contradiction to the message of universal unity? Wouldn't social rejection increase radicalization? So recently I did a video that talks about how, we shouldn't tolerate the intolerant. Basically, we shouldn't, if we're trying to build a tolerant society, we can't let intolerant people spread their intolerance and hate around. But look, this doesn't mean that we're all for rehabilitation as well, right? So as long as we can also teach these people, it doesn't mean that we're just sort of building walls and pushing them out. It means that we also have the possibility of educating and teaching. So that would, of course, be tried, right? You have intolerant individuals, and if we can educate them so they are no longer intolerant, then that's awesome, right? Education is extremely important. The point is, there are just some people who are just, this goes along with emotions. They're not guided by logic and reason. They're just guided by their emotions, and they will always be intolerant no matter what. And that's the sort of thing that we're talking about. Thank you so much for the donation, Lacey A. You're awesome. And Jason donated $20. You're awesome, my friend, and says, I would love to help spread your message in Spanish. I have many friends and people I connect with every day, and I always do my best to translate. That's how much you have impacted my life for the best. Ad Astra. That means a lot, Jason. And yes, I think that that's amazing. Please do spread it in Spanish. We have, I think, different translations of the Unity document. I think we have a Spanish translation of the Unity document on the HyperionSource.com. But yes, please, translations in Spanish and all languages are, greatly appreciated. All right, let me just take a look at some of the comments here. And remember, guys, if you are on Facebook, make sure you go over to YouTube right now. The link is in the description of this video. If you are on Facebook, go to the link in the description of this video to go to YouTube. That's where I'm answering questions. So come on, guys, if you support my work, please go to YouTube and subscribe. That's a great way that you can show that you actually support what I'm doing, is by going over to YouTube right now and hitting that subscribe button. For any of you guys who aren't subscribed and are watching this, subscribe right now. Hit the bell to turn on all notifications, because once again, my content is controversial, so it always won't pop up in your feed. That's why you need to hit the bell and turn on those notifications, and I'll love you forever. So come on, subscribe, join our War of the Mind. Just so you know, when I say War of the Mind, by the way, we're completely nonviolent. War stands for will, art, and reason. So this is a war of the mind. This is the war of consciousness. And through will, our willpower, through art, through our creations of beauty and our connection to the intuitive realm, and through our logic and reason, this is how we will change the world, change minds, change consciousness, and create a new world and a new society. So, for any of those who might not know, let's see. Thank you so much for the donation, Damaris and Marja. I don't know if I'm saying that. Marja or Marha Mark. Marja Mark says, love your videos. And Damaris says, Morgue, I have PTSD due to past emotional traumas. What is your take on trauma affecting one's emotion? Yes, so trauma. Oh, thank you so much for your donation, Rotting Doll 13. Rotting Doll 13 says, hey everyone, I'm stuck at work. Sorry you're at work, but I'm glad you could jump in here for a minute. I hope you can stay with us for as long as you can. So we have a few questions here. Yes, emotional trauma. So here's the thing. This is where it comes to understanding your emotions. And it's really great that you have at least identified that you have past trauma that is causing your emotions. See, here's the thing. Some people don't even know that. Some people won't even realize that it's past trauma that's causing some of their emotions, and then they'll just be guided there by their emotions. They'll feel angry, and they might not even know why. Like, here's a really random example, but let's say someone had a traumatic experience, and they had this traumatic experience when a country music song was playing. Then like 10 years down the road, whenever country music plays, they might feel incredibly angry and anxious, but they might not even know why. They might not know that it's the country music song that's triggering it, because that has an association with their past traumas. So it's really great that you have at least, understood that this is the cause of certain things. So it's really important to always do deep psychological evaluation and reflection, and try and understand and get to the roots of what is causing the emotions, what are causing the problems, and then getting past them. So when it comes to PTSD, it has to do with, there's two different levels to it. One level is trying to treat the PTSD itself, that's sort of the root, and then the surface level is controlling the emotions that it may cause. So both, you need to come at it from both ends, trying to overcome the PTSD itself, and then also controlling the emotions, which we're going to talk about in a second. Some exercise for helping to control your emotions. Taking a look at some of the comments here. Oh, Angela says, remember to like the video. Yes, like this video. We only have 111 likes. What kind of bullshittery is this, my friends? Hit that like button, make it go up. Oh, wow, we just made it's at 119 now. No, more, I want it higher. Let's get those likes past 200. Why not? That's what we can do. I don't really know what it does, but it does something. Oh, wow, we're at 131 now. Hit those likes, make those go higher. 141, let's get that past 200, because why not? Also, if y'all are on Facebook, go over to YouTube right now. The link is in the description of the Facebook video. Tap the link in the description of the Facebook video, go over there right now, and subscribe. That's how you can show that you appreciate my work. All right, you guys? Seriously, that's how you can show that you appreciate my work, by subscribing right now. All right, let me say hello. Oh, hello, Synthetic Xeno. Always good to see you. We're at 157 likes. I want over 200. Let's do it. All right. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. Thank you, Nona. I hope you are able to be more active in our community very soon. Good to see you, by the way. All right, just a moment. I'm trying to take a look at some of these comments. They just go by so very quick. Jordan. Oh, hey, Jordan. I remember you, Jordan. Yes, you're a supporter. The Giordan. I remember. Yes. So hopefully I'll see you at the secret stream later. Jordan says, I was late today because I was watching your videos on dreams. Super helpful. I have quite a lot of videos on dreams. So if you guys haven't seen them, make sure that you check them out. Also, in the description of this video, I have a link to another one of my videos called Unifying Love and Hate. So you can check it out. So let me take a look at, sorry guys, as some of you know, I had a power outage in the middle of this live stream, so I have to get some of these behind the scenes stuff back up. Let's see here. Okay, so we're talking, let me talk a little bit more about the importance of emotions here, because Again, as Hyperions, we're always emphasizing logic and reason. But what this means is that logic and reason must be the guiding function, that it's the highest faculty of mind, and we know that it has its place. But emotions are very important. We're not unfeeling robots. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "The will is not only a complex of sensation and thinking, but it is above all in emotion." So that's what Friedrich Nietzsche said about the will. So emotions are very powerful. They're the gas to our car. They get us where we need to go. But we want to make sure that we are controlling our emotions correctly, or else they will go out of control. And we're going to take a look at that. But just a second, I want to say thank you to Chanel for donating $20. You're awesome, Chanel. Now, Chanel says, what is the difference between a Hyperion and a Lyrian? Someone told me that I am a Lyrian. I have no idea what this means. Do Hyperions and or Lyrians have heightened emotions or able to control them easier? Well, Chanel, I don't know what a Lyrian is. So if you could, educate me as to what a Lyrian is, I could tell you the difference as to, what a Hyperion and a Lyrian is. I don't know what that is, but I can answer your questions. Do Hyperions have heightened emotions or are able to control them easier? And the thing is that, yes, Hyperions who understand Hyperionism correctly can control their emotions easier. And why is that? This is because, once again, we have ordered all our functions in the proper places, meaning we have placed reason at the apex and use it as a controlling and guiding function. So we are able to control and guide our emotions. It doesn't mean we're turning our emotions off. It means that we do a lot of things. Like we have our system of inner star actualization. That's all about making the unconscious conscious. So we're all about understanding and gaining knowledge. So when we understand and gain knowledge, the more we understand our emotions, the better we can control them. So we, as Hyperions, can work with emotions in two very powerful ways. One, because reason is being our guiding function, and two, because we take the time to understand and cultivate things like emotional intelligence and understanding the roots of our emotions. Whereas most people are just blindly, they have an emotion and they just act on it. That's like an animal, right? An animal, I'm angry, I'm going to bark, or whatever. A lot of humans act that way. But as Hyperions, no, we know that, hey, I'm having this feeling, but I'm going to use reason and logic. Should I be having this feeling right now? Should I let it control my life, or shouldn't it? Is it going to have a positive impact, or isn't it? Also, why am I feeling this emotion? Is something triggering it? Is something causing it? Is there a way that I can alleviate this? Is there a way that I can smooth this over? Dejaris and Anna, thank you so much for your donations. You're both awesome. And XPRX Famous, I'm not exactly sure how to say your name. Hopefully I did something. Thank you so much for your donation. And he says, I have been dealing with PTSD for most of my life and didn't know until recently. I am learning so much about myself through self-evaluation and your videos. Thank you. You're very welcome. And I'm glad that my videos are helping. And this is, I'm glad that you said this, because this is exactly what we're talking about. The more that you understand yourself, the more that you understand your emotions, the better you're going to be able to control them and live a more fulfilled life. Because again, so much, I believe it was Socrates that said ignorance is the greatest evil. I'm paraphrasing, but something like this. And it's true that so many problems come from ignorance and not understanding what's going on. It's like a tree, and if you have a problem at the root, that's going to cause the rest of the tree to not grow correctly. And most people never look at the roots, because that's the unconscious, and they're completely ruled by their unconscious, as Carl Jung pointed out. Carl Jung pointed out that people will be guided by their unconscious, and they'll call it fate. They'll think, oh, well, that's just how things are. That's just fate. I had no control over it because your unconscious was guiding you. But if you delve deep into your unconscious and have understanding, then you can take control of your life because you've made the unconscious conscious. Dylan says, is that just water or vodka or something? It's just water. If this were vodka, that would be a lot of vodka, my friend. No, it's just water. But hey, maybe one of these live streams we should have a drinking game, right? I'll have some vodka or absinthe or something, and I'll do some shots. I'll do shots whenever someone asks me where my eyebrows are. I think I'll probably get drunk within the first 5 minutes of live streaming. That would be interesting. Johnny says, are you worried that the Illuminati will try and stop you? No. And some of you out there will know just how funny that comment is. All right, guys, once again, if you are on Facebook, please click the link in the description of the video on Facebook to go to YouTube. If you support my work, please go to YouTube right now. That's where I'm interacting with people and answering questions. So go to YouTube and subscribe. Guys, that's how you can show that you appreciate my work, by subscribing. Please go do that right now. If you're on Facebook, go over to YouTube. Go do it. Daisy says, hi there, just new here. I'm glad you could make it, Daisy. Always are welcoming to newcomers. And y'all on Facebook, get your asses over to YouTube. Go do it right now. Alyssa, well, I would love to do that at some time. I would indeed. So let me tell you guys a little bit about oh, here's an interesting question. Gail Smith says, how does one become Hyperion? I'm going to do a whole video on this. But basically, if you watch my videos, watch our videos, read our material, if you agree with it, if you place logic and reason above all, if you are the main things that, you're guided by logic and reason, that you understand that this isn't a material reality but a mathematical reality, if you are for actualizing yourself and actualizing the world, and as long as you don't have any intolerant beliefs, like some, literalist religions, then you can call yourself Hyperion. So those are the main things. I'm going to do a whole video on this at some point, just so it's a little more, laid out in a rigorous way and that people can refer to it. But those are the basic things. So one thing that I want to tell you guys about, a great exercise that you can do. So how do you control your emotions? We talked about, understanding them and things like this. But let me give you a good way that you can begin to control them as well. And in my book, Book 0, I talk about this, and I call this the emotional control system. Basically, what I want you to do is imagine in your mind like a control board. You know how a control board has, knobs and sliders. If you've ever looked at maybe a DJ control board or anything like that, there are knobs, dials, and sliders. You slide things up and down, turn things. And I want you to imagine that in your head, and I want you to start associating emotions with these different sliders, such as, anger, or sadness, or happiness, or whatever, what have you. And then whenever you want to control your emotions, let's say that you're really, really angry, then I just want you to imagine that all the sliders reflect that. Your angry slider will be really high, and maybe your, satisfaction slider will be really low, or whatever. I just want you to imagine that all the sliders are constantly reflecting where your emotions are at. Then when you're really angry and you want to control it, I want you to imagine, in your mind, moving that anger slider down, 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 down. And then, kind of just forcing yourself as you do this to feel less angry. And the more that you do this, the more, the first time you do it, it may not work. Maybe it will, and if it does, that's great, but maybe it won't, because basically what you're doing is you're setting up mental associations with your emotions and these sliders. This is known as NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And as time goes by, this will start to work. And you will be able to sort of control your emotions by imagining these sliders and moving them up and down and things like this. Again, this is what I call the emotional control system, and it helps a lot. And again, the best way to control your emotions is through understanding, gaining emotional intelligence, understanding why you're feeling certain things. But this can be very helpful as well. Thank you so much for the donation, Norris. Norris Neal donated $10. Thank you so much. Big shout out to all you guys who donate. I can't tell you how much that helps. Crystal Dumont donated $6.66. 666, quite a nefarious donation, Crystal. So good to see you. I'm always happy to see you here, Crystal. They donate. They said you give such great advice. I'm glad you think so. Crystal's an awesome supporter. Thank you, Lawrence. So Middle-Kana says, why do we have emotions, and basically why do we have emotions? Well, I already kind of talked about this, how emotions, give us desire and drive and things like this, but this is why I want you to remember all emotions have their place as well. So, this is why I say we control and guide our emotions. We don't turn them off. Because guess what? Let's take an emotion that many people will think is negative. Anger, right? Do we want to turn off anger? Well, maybe, if it's inappropriate for us to be angry. But think about if you get angry because of the state of the world. That's okay. You should be angry. I tell people, I tell people I want two things to happen. One, I want you to be excited about the fact that we're changing the world and that we're in this state of history where we are making changes. I want you to get excited for all the possibilities and opportunities. Thank you for the donation, June. You're awesome. June asks, where are you located? I'm in Los Angeles, California. So one thing is I want you to get excited for all the changes and possibilities that we have, but I want you to get angry. I want you to get angry at the state of the world and at the fact that rights are being taken away and stuff like that. Because guess what? Anger is fuel for change. So yes, get angry about the state of the world. Get angry at the fact that, people are starving and the rich elites are running the world and driving it into the ground. Get angry, because that is fuel for change. All these sort of new age teachings that are, and things that are like, just only look at love and light, and there's no need to get angry. And no, you see, this is a very docile mentality, and it turns people into unthinking, malleable slaves. It turns you into a malleable slave. Imagine if you had a slave society and the slaves never got angry. They were just like, I'm a slave, and, I can't do anything about it. So no. Like, anger is what fuels change. So once again, it's not about not Oh, thank you, Kim Krinsky. Kim Krinsky donated and said, I think you are quite a revolutionary influence. We are a revolution of the mind. Indeed, it all has to do with the mind. It's all about consciousness and things like this. So, as I was saying, once again, emotions have their place, and we can use them for change. We can use them to live more fulfilling lives, but it's all about controlling them and understanding them. Thank you so much for the donation, Trinal Lamont. You're awesome. Trinal says, keep it up. I will keep it up. I will always keep it up. I am sort of the Viagra of consciousness, I guess. Let's all take the Viagra of consciousness, raise our get our consciousness dicks nice and hard and up. I don't know where that's going, but I think it's a metaphor I will stick with. Charles says, how to deal with performance anxiety. Well, Charles, performance anxiety, that's kind of funny. I'm guessing you're not meaning in the bedroom. I think you just mean performance, like if you're a performer, which is really interesting that you would say that, because I was a performer. I am a performer. I've been a performer for many, many years. For those who don't know, I am a sword swallower. I do crazy stunts, things like this. I was on a TV show. I was the host of a freak show. But what's really interesting is that I had intense fear of public speaking. So in order to get over that, I took public speaking classes. I did open mic nights. I was a street performer. I did everything I possibly could to throw myself into the fire, so to speak. Guess what? Now I don't have any... I am extremely comfortable on stage now. If anything, I'm more comfortable on stage in front of hundreds of people than I am having a one-on-one conversation. I am an introvert, and I do get social anxiety. But I'm extremely comfortable on stage in front of hundreds of people. I feel the most alive in those moments. And so you can overcome anything. I feel for you, though. I used to be petrified of public speaking. But now it's the easiest thing in the world. So you have to use your will to realize, all right, I have this. This is what Friedrich Nietzsche was all about. Never being limited. And I believe it was Hegel who said to be aware of, was it Hegel? Ooh, it's either Hegel or Nietzsche. I can't remember. It's either Hegel or Nietzsche. I want to say it's Hegel that said to be aware of your limitations is to ready to overcome them. Because once you're aware of your limitations, you have understood that there is a boundary and something that's beyond that boundary. So great that you have at least recognized that, hey, this is an issue. Next is to use your willpower to overcome. That's what Hyperionism is all about. Hyperion means higher and over. It's about overcoming all obstacles to create yourself into something powerful. Thank you for the donation, Dark Angel Scruffy. Some of your names I enjoy, and you are very creative, my friend. So thank you, Dark Angel Scruffy. Said, thank you for sharing such useful insights. You're quite welcome. Thomas says, how can we push change through pacifist means when most shifts in history were done violently? Well, we don't want to repeat history, do we? It's a fallacy to think that everything must happen the way it has happened in the past. So the co-founder of the Occupy Wall Street movement, which was a huge movement, in his book, The Future of Revolutions, said that the next great revolution must be a revolution of consciousness. We must have a shift in consciousness. Because, guess what? People are not at the level to institute an enlightened society right now in this moment. Let's say that we had a crazy revolution right now and, people overthrew things. Well, guess what? There would just be a lot of stupid people in charge. We need to have a revolution of consciousness so that intelligent, enlightened, compassionate, rational people are able to guide a society. Because why is the world such crap right now? The world is crap because it has crap people in it. You get out what you put in. You put in crap people, you get out a crap product. So we need, this is why we're all about revolution of the mind or revolution of consciousness. It is the next step. The next step. You know, we are always progressing as a species, and you know, we don't need to. You know, violence is not the way. Thank you so much for the donation, Amanda and Jamal. Thank you so much. Taking a look at some of the comments here. Just scrolling through them. Hey guys, by the way, in the meantime, if y'all are on Facebook, get over to YouTube. That's where I'm answering comments. Go over to YouTube right now, subscribe. That's how you can show that you support my work, by subscribing on YouTube. So go do it right now. For any of you who aren't watching, hey, subscribe. Oh, hey, we made it past 200 likes. We're at 229 likes. Yes! I don't know what that means. I don't know if it does anything. But hey, that was our goal and we crushed it. Yeah, awesome. So smash that like button. Keep it going. Make it go even higher. Why not? Don't even, you know, we hit our goal, but let's go even higher. Why not? Thank you so much for your donation, Louis P. and Zochitl. Zochitl says, thank you for always being genuine and such a badass. You're welcome. Lewis says, why can't we remember our past lives? Oh, my friend, you are reading my mind, because this is one of the next videos that I'm going to film, is why can't we remember our past lives? So I'll give you just a very quick, short answer, but I'm literally, this is kind of one of the next couple videos that I want to do. Okay, so we are all minds. Our minds connect to these bodies, and these are our avatars from navigating the physical world. So within our minds, we contain all the information of all our past lives, but why can't we remember them? Well, as Aldous Huxley famously pointed out, our brain and nervous system is a reducing valve. It reduces and filters mind at large. So basically, if you think about evolution about two creatures. Think about a creature that had just tons of information in its head going on all the time. It knew what every single electron on the other side of the universe was doing, and it was just like, you know, just so overloaded with all this information. So imagine this creature just sort of sitting there with all this information. And then imagine another creature that was just purely tuned into the physical world, that filtered all that information out and was just like a hunter-killer. It would kill and eat that creature that had, you know, all that information in its head. So through evolution, in the process of natural selection, evolution would select for those that filtered out that excess data, because it is more beneficial for us to survive, to be tuned into this world. We, you know, through evolution, being tuned into this world is what has allowed us to survive and evolve up to this point. So long story short, I'm going to do a whole video on this, but long story short, in a nutshell, this is why you don't remember past lives, because evolution has shown that it is a evolutionary survival advantage to filter this information out, so we can be focused on the material world, the holos, to survive. However, now that we are past just pure survival, this is why we are now taking steps to reconnect to our mind and trying our best to bypass these filters and limitations. This is what we do by trying to make the unconscious conscious in inner star actualization. Thank you so much for the donation, Jane. Jane says, what are your thoughts on nature and what are your thoughts on nature and the elements affecting human behavior and emotions? I feel nature has a direct link to humans evolving consciously. So here's the thing, you know, this is sort of nature versus nurture. Our environment and our society will affect us. So outside conditions, nature, this is like nature versus nurture. Culture, society will affect us and condition us. However, there are two kinds of people. There are the type of people who will just sort of allow this stream of outside conditioning, so societal conditioning, shape them, and they will be completely guided by that. And then there is this other type of person who will realize that they have the power themselves to overcome this conditioning and be the guide of their own life. And so many people, right? This is what, we in Hyperionism we call the ignavi. The ignorant sort of are guided by external influences. They may be locked into a religion. They may be locked in a certain cultural way of thinking. And they'll never be able to change their minds because they don't truly think for themselves. They're just shaped by conditioning. So it is important, it is imperative and paramount that we take control of our own lives. We recognize that all of us have been shaped by society. All of us have. But it's up to us to realize that and then to reshape ourselves, to do away with what we don't agree with, to create new faculties, to evolve, things like this. Things like this. Once again, guys, if you are on Facebook, go over to YouTube right now. How many of you? There's 150 of you guys on Facebook. If you guys are on Facebook, go over to YouTube right now and join us on YouTube. That is where I am answering questions. And make sure you subscribe. That's how you can show that you support my work and things like that. Also, guys, remember, we are going to have a supporters only secret live stream very, very soon. It gets really crazy out here. There's tons of comments fly by. There's a lot of trolls sometimes. I don't see too many trolls today. Maybe our moderators are doing awesome. Shout out to Susan. She's an awesome moderator. If you want to be a part of our secret live stream that's going to be happening very soon, the link is in the description of this YouTube video where you can join us on Patreon. If you support on Patreon, you'll be able to be a part of our secret live stream. You'll be supporting my work, and you'll be a part of our secret streams that happen every single week. So I can't tell you how much that helps. So big shout out to all you guys who support on Patreon and also you guys who donate here. And also remember, if you can't, if you can't support monetarily, subscribe, hit the bell to turn on all notification. Hit that like button, share these videos everywhere. Just by showing up to these YouTube lives, you are supporting. And so thank you. I love you guys. You are awesome. You are helping us create that new world through showing you support. I can't tell you, this information is very controversial. So it's always a battle, tooth and nail, against the social media algorithms. And you guys, by being a part of this, by hitting that like button, by sharing, subscribing, and all of the things that you do to support, this is how we're able to get this information out there. I know you guys have seen that, I'm putting out more videos lately and things like that. That's because of your support. Without you, I would not be able to do that. Thank you so much. Thank you for the donation, Lacey. Lacey wants to know what my sign is. I am a Taurus, and wants to know my opinions on astrology. Well, I don't want to get into that right now because that's actually a really hot button issue, and that would take a long time for me to be able to explain without being misunderstood. As Carl Jung understood, these signs are archetypal patterns that exist in nature. But this has been greatly misunderstood. You can't look up your horoscope and see if you're going to fall in love this week or something like that. No, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. I mean, if you want to believe that, that's fine. but that is certainly not my position. But anyway, I want to do a whole video on this at some point, just because I don't want people to misunderstand me. There are certain topics that I can talk about super easily, and then there are other topics where there is a lot of room for misinterpretation, because we all understand reality different, so it has to be approached in a certain way. So as I said, Carl Jung had a very interesting take on astrology, and how these signs do reflect certain archetypal structures. But I don't want to say, just like I've talked about tarot cards before. You know how tarot cards can be great for exploring your unconscious mind because they contain symbology and unconscious patterns that can unlock your intuitive potential, but you can't lay them out to find out if you're going to fall in love next week. That's not how they work, right? So there's certain things that are true and certain things that are untrue. Same kind of goes for these other topics. So I want to do a whole video on it just so there isn't any confusion. Lynn Love says, what is the meaning of the symbol behind me? Well, it means a couple different things. But if you want to know one of its very powerful interpretations, look up my video, my playlist on inner star actualization. And it shows how it is a symbolic guide of the archetypes that reside in the unconscious. Pink Panda donated $10 and said, go have some vegan LA coffees on me. Well, thank you, Pink Panda. I will have a vegan LA coffee. Yes, absolutely. I will. Thank you. I will do that. Is vegan coffee good? Vegan coffee is basically the same as regular coffee, except if you put milk in it, you use almond milk or soy milk instead of regular milk. So really it tastes exactly the same. You can't really tell the difference. It's just that you use a different kind of milk, and you can't tell. You really can't. Damaris, thank you for the donation, Damaris. Thoughts about ego and how it affects emotions. So Damaris, you should absolutely check out my videos on inner star actualization, because I did a whole video on the ego. The ego is a greatly misunderstood thing. All these spiritual communities that try to say that you should destroy your ego and eliminate the ego, oh my God, that is the... Look, you don't want to have you don't want to be like a narcissist. That's not what ego means. Your ego is the center of your field of consciousness. So all the, the sort of ancient mystery traditions and things like this, they weren't about destroying the ego. They were about fortifying your ego. Look, here's the thing. Your ego is at the center of your field of consciousness. So is it you who you truly are? No, it's not. Your ego is not who you are. You as a monad, your higher self, your inner star, that's who you truly are. This is a symbol for the inner star. This is a symbol for the inner star, and the center point is your ego. The ego is not who you are. You are all of this. You are this whole thing. But the ego is the center of your field of consciousness. I'm trying to do a mirror thing here. So it is a tool. And what you want to do is to recognize that it's not you, but recognize that it's a tool for you to grow and evolve. And you want to make the unconscious conscious. So it's all about evolving if you eliminated and destroyed your ego, you would again be on the level of the animals. So it's about recognizing that you have an ego, that an ego is important, but it's not who you are, and using it as a tool. Again, these spiritual ideas, it's like saying, it's the same, like how they say you need to get rid of anger. No, sometimes anger is powerful. When they say you need to get rid of your ego. No! You don't need to get rid of your ego. You can bypass the ego. you can realize the ego is not who you are, but you don't want to get rid of it. You know, that's not what you want to do. You want to understand what it is, what its function is, and Kim G says, you got any videos on the dark night of the soul? That's another video I want to do very soon. I don't have a video on it right now, but it is one that I want to do. Okay, you guys, thank you to everyone who has donated. You guys are amazing. And remember that we are going to have our secret live stream in just a few minutes, in about 15-20 minutes here. So if you want to be a part of that, the link is in the description of this video. Make sure that if you want to be a part of that, you can get access to our secret live stream and help support my work at the same time. So make sure that you all do that. Holy shit! Nigel March just donated $140 Canadian, which is even more in USD. Wow, Nigel, you are awesome. Nigel says, thank you. Your insight has helped me tremendously. My goodness, my friend. I'm glad that my work has had that effect on you. That means a lot to me. I wish I had a little, a sparkler or some kind of confetti thing to blow here. Thank you so much. That means a lot. And just as I was about to log out too. Thank you, my friend. You're awesome. Wow. I don't know what to say. I think you have broken a record. You have been I believe, the biggest donator that we have had ever. So you are a record breaker, my friend. Thank you very much. Anyway, as I was saying, I got a little distracted there. We are going to have a secret supporters only live stream in just a few minutes. So make sure that if you want to be a part of that, you check that out. You can. Link is in the description of this video. I'm going to see you all there. And also in the comments, I have linked to another video that you probably want to check out called Unifying Love and Hate. It shows how, both love and hate, are different aspects of the force of life. So check that out. Always good to see you here, guys. Big shout out to all the donators. You're all awesome, especially Nigel. My God. But remember, even if you can't afford that, you guys just showing up means the world to me. When you hit that like button, when you hit that subscribe button, when you turn on the bell, when you share these videos, please hit that like button. Please turn on that bell. These are the ways that you can show your support. So I hope you enjoyed our topic today, all about emotions. Remember that emotions are important. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean turning off your emotions. It means understanding them and being able to guide them, because emotions are incredibly important. Just always be guided by logic and reason so you can know when they have their proper place and how to understand them, understand yourself, and live a better life, and so we can create a better world. Remember, I am live every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And I will see you guys all next week. And for supporters, I'll see you in the secret live stream. My name is Morgue, and I am Hyperion. Ad Astra, to the stars.